Hi, I'm Kit Cassingham, founder of and Chief Energizing Officer at Live in Focused Energy. Tonight I want to talk about mindfulness, and I'm going to tell you right off the bat, my mindfulness is going to be challenged because my yowly cat is talking up a storm, and that short circuits my brain. You may see some of my going blank at times if she persists in her chattiness. So, what is mindfulness? I see it as presence. I see it as being aware of yourself within your surroundings. I see it as deliberateness. I was going to say intentionality, but we all know that the road to hell is paved with good intentions, right? And I'm not wanting us to go there. So I decided that deliberateness is probably a better way of talking about it. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm curious. What do you think your level of mindfulness is in general? And why is that? Would love to hear from you about that. I see mindfulness being present as an increasingly challenging issue or problem. Our society is getting so fast, there's so much to do, we have so many ways of doing all that, and at the same time, the multitasking takes us away from mindfulness, from being present. How many times have you gone out to a movie, a meal, walking down the street, and people have their faces buried in their phones or tablets? Way too often. Oh, good, the cat left. Good. And I distracted myself. Lack of mindfulness. But it's our busy lives. It's the social media. Distractions of all sorts that keep us from being mindful. I know that one situation where I particularly am challenged by mindfulness is in social situations. If there's a lot going on, noise, people talking, movement, lights flashing, it's almost like my brain short circuits. And I get overwhelmed, and my brain shuts down. ADD people are especially challenged with mindfulness because their brain already naturally is bouncing around from place to place, and to stay focused is especially hard for them. Add to that our social tendency, the reality these days of all the distractions, the social media, all there is to do. And people with ADD are very challenged. So that's one reason I want to talk about this tonight, because mindfulness is critical. You've got to have that for you to grow into your higher self, your better self, to live up to your potential. You don't do that accidentally. You do that intentionally. You do that with deliberation. You have to be aware of what you're doing. So now that I'm aware that social situations derail me, I can start working on what to do about that. Awareness is a first step in becoming mindful. And I see action as being really critical to mindfulness, to getting back into mindfulness, to correcting the situation that helps you not be mindful. When I'm in those social situations, I'm interacting with people and I'm talking, I'm having a good time. But when I think about it later, as I think about my class reunion last weekend, I somehow at times felt like I was just an observer of what other people were doing. Even when I was in the middle of it, I wasn't connected. That tells me I wasn't present, even though I was having fun and trying to be present. I see the presence thieves, I'll call them, being a few things that we can work on. I'll be working on them, and maybe you'll join me, work with me. One of them is social media. And one reason it's a presence thief is because it feeds our prefrontal cortex. It feeds that dopamine hit that makes us feel good. That's what drug addicts are after, is the dopamine. They use drugs to get it, or alcoholics, gamblers. A lot of those addictions are the dopamine. And sometimes the social media fits that, and it becomes the center of attention, and we just shut everything else out. We shut out the chaos that is in our lives. So if you find yourself living a pretty frenetic life, always on the go, always with people and everything going helter-skelter, mindfulness is going to be a challenge for you. Multitasking. My mom was queen of that. She would try to read a catalog or work on her crossword while carrying on a conversation with others in the room. She didn't do either activity very well. And our phones, our computers. When I was at the class reunion, part of my chaos was everybody's phones were, oops, got a page coming, sorry. We've got alarms and alerts dinging all the time. And just like this page is going to short circuit my brain, those little alarms were a challenge for me. I'm going to turn this down, excuse me a second. Okay, sorry about that. So finding ways to reduce that multitasking. I have turned off alarms on my phone, my computer, everything, because I want to intentionally go check my email or my Facebook. I don't want it calling to me like this cat calls to me. And that I'll suggest that you try the same thing. So distractions, multitasking, chaos, social media, all of those things become issues for us. I want to explore with you through the next couple of nights what we can do to be more for the solutions of presence. How do we stay focused? I've talked about putting sticky notes up, having entries in your calendar with an alarm. See, there's one place I will have an alarm. I actually had so many alarms in my phone to remind me of the different things that were important to me to think about, to remind myself of, like be joyful, be present, that it distracted me from conversations I was having. And after a while, it just became noise that distracted without actually having the effect it was intended to. This morning, I turned them all off. So now, when I have an alarm go off, that means it's time to take action. So don't overdo those things that are to help you be more focused and present. I also think that when we have an attitude of presence and decide, I'm going to be much more deliberate with my actions, that when I unload the dishwasher, first thing I'll do is turn it off. Then I will empty it and then close the door. I don't want to leave the dishwasher on because then I'll start it and run an empty dishwasher, as a silly example. Or when I go to dinner with friends, I will not be looking at my phone. I'm there to be with them, not my phone. If there are a couple of situations where I will pay attention to it, and I will advise the people, this is going on in my life and I've got to pay attention to that. And they will therefore be forewarned and not be as dismayed by my lack of presence. But I don't do that very often, and it's in my intention to do it less and less. Where are you struggling with mindfulness? What do you think you can do to get back on track, to be more present, grounded in the here and now? That's what I want for myself, and I would think you'd want that for yourself. I hear that entrepreneurs typically have ADD. They're always on the go, there's always more to do. Their mindfulness is challenged. So join me for the next few weeks, well, that too, but next couple of nights for sure, to talk more about mindfulness. Let's talk more about how social media actually robs us of the intimate, close connections that we're seeking. And I know there's more we can talk about, and that's how I will be spending my time thinking of other aspects of mindfulness to talk to you about, because I know it's a really big deal. And for me to get back into my high productivity is going to require high mindfulness. I love high performance living, and so I'm coaching myself back to that, and I hope you'll join me. I'm Kit Cassingham signing out for now. I'm going to go to the drive-in movie and be very present while I watch Beauty and the Beast. Have a great evening. See you tomorrow.